But we did it because we loved it. And I think what made the show so popular in those days is we were so competitive with each other. So we were like, you know, making these crazy costumes, and we are backup dancers and props. It was like a Broadway show in those days. And it was all because of our competitiveness with each other. So I think the fact that we had to rely on each other as a community, and we were still competitive, what made the show so great. And over time, they became more and more popular with the students. And one day, we no longer had to just know where the club was from the back door. Now we know where it is from the front door. And I remember being in the first Pride parade in 19 something here in Gainesville, and I was also in the Pride Parade in Orlando. And the only people that showed up to those parades in those days were the protesters, the ones that yelled horrible things at us, actually threw things at us. It was quite horrible. And then as we have continually pushed and persevered, now Pride parades are some of the most busy events in downtown communities now. It's just mind blowing. I never thought I would live to see it, right? And drag is an art form that is forever evolving, right? So after I won Miss Orlando, I'm transgender, so I am a woman. My reassignment surgery was more important to me than drag. And so I flew to Belgium and had one of the best doctors at the time remodel my exterior to match my interior. And at that time, I was kind of ostracized by the drag community. They thought you had to have male parts in order to do drag. And a lot of clubs would not book me. But the one place that would always book me and always welcome me was the University Club here in Gainesville. And as time has gone on and more trans people still wanted to do drag because we're natural performers, it slowly began to become more acceptable. Just a couple of years ago, the Miss Continental pageant, which is one of the largest drag pageants in the country, finally opened up to post-op trans people. So it's just a pretty recent thing that it's really starting to open up. But a lot of that is due to RuPaul's Drag Race. RuPaul's Drag Race has been a trailblazer for this industry, and drag has evolved immensely over time. One of the things, I'm going to back up a little bit to Miami in the 90s. There was a subset of drag called Club Kids, and I was actually in Miami during that time as well. And Club Kids, it really wasn't as much about gender, about trying to look like a woman. It was more gender bending. And Club Kids would just, there were no rules. Okay. You could have hips and no breasts and plastic hair and paper eyelashes. And it was an incredible art form. And I think they had a lot to do with the evolution of drag. And now drag has evolved into an art form that anybody can do. Anybody. There's a very popular queen in the UK. Her name is Victoria Scone, and she is a genetically born cisgendered female that does drag, and she's amazing. So it doesn't matter who you are, male, female, trans. I think my dog could do drag if he wanted to, right? I mean, it is an incredible art form that has just really opened up, and it's no longer about gender. It's about being extra and fabulous and like Talia said today, living your joy. It truly is about that. And I'm just blown away by how it has come, and God, it's making me emotional. I come from a time where I have literally had to fight for my life. Literally. fight for my life. And look at where we are. I guess that wraps it up. And you guys are amazing. You're truly amazing. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. We have question time. Okay. Okay, I'll keep this one.
It's working. Okay. Oh, that's right. The mic is for the people at home. So if you do have a question, raise your hand. Don't start talking until you have the mic in your hand, because otherwise it won't go in the recording. Any questions? Anybody? No questions, huh? Okay. Oh, right behind me. Okay, here we go. Can you talk a little bit about your life as an artist too?
Oh, yes. I got so emotional, I just forgot all about it. So I've always been an artist. I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts at Georgia State in Atlanta. I came here and took a little side shift and got a master's degree in architecture, and I worked in the field for a couple of years until I realized that it was a man's world, no offense, and my creativity was a little stifled. So then I went back and got a second master's in fine arts. And I was teaching through that master's at UF, and I now teach at Santa Fe. My concentration was in sculpture. So I do sculpture, and I really have a strong lean into digital fabrication because of my architecture background. But I'm also a painter, as you know, of the mural that's on the University Club. So as of right now, I am trying to find my wings of which direction to go next. I want to do more murals in town. I love painting and love painting murals. So even though my concentration was in sculpture, I'm starting to lean towards the two-dimensional again. I'm sure I'll swing back to sculpture, but I think the best of my art is yet to come. It's in the works. And so, did that answer your question? Okay.
Okay.
Who in the art world are you drawn to as influences?
Wow, that's a big question. Well, let me start with architects. Santiago Calatrava and Zaha Hadid are my two, and Frank Gehry are my favorite architects. And I translate some of my ideology from my architecture into two-dimensional. Painters, my all-time favorite painting in history is Marcel Duchamp's Nude Descending a Staircase. So I love Cubism, which is kind of coming out in some of my current work. I love Kende Wiley. I think he's incredible. I like his hyperrealism and depicting Black people the way that he does. I mean, there's a lot. Yeah. Hmm. Bring it back.
When you were performing, did you? Hold on. Okay, perfect. Hear me.
When you were performing, did you perform as one persona or did you have different characters that you did?
Yeah, you never knew what I was gonna do. I have done Cruella de Vil, I have done Maleficent, I've done comedy skits, I've done Gaga. Yeah, I did a lot of different things. I am a natural performer. I have a long history in performing. I actually worked in Walt Disney World Entertainment and Universal Studios Entertainment. I actually did Maleficent in Day Parade at Magic Kingdom. So yeah, so I have a long performance background.
For coming here. It's been great to hear your story. I've been trying to figure out how to phrase this, but like looking at with Stonewall and drag queens and drag icons and trans icons kind of leading the Stonewall movement and kind of being in the forefront of that movement. And now in like especially Florida and some of our neighboring states, like the extreme backlash towards both trans people and then also the drag community. What are your thoughts about like how this all historically fits together and how we can kind of come together and help, move things back in the pendulum in the correct way?
Yeah, the things that are happening right now are rather shocking. I feel like that conservative political leaders, in order to rally their constituents, they have to have a villain. And we trans people are now that new villain. And that's also just like I can't believe that this wonderful thing is happening. I also can't believe that's happening on the opposite spectrum. I think the one thing that we can do, for example, the ridiculous bathroom bill, which is insane. I really want to send some photos of these gorgeous trans men to DeSantis and say, okay, now these big buff guys get to go to the bathroom with your little girls. I mean, it's absolutely insane. But I think what we can do as a community is we have to ignore those people and allow people to use what bathroom they need to use. I mean, for goodness sake, there are so many more important things to worry about: sea level rise and infrastructure. And I mean, big things. And you're going to attack this tiny little minority group. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone sometimes, right? But the best thing that we can do is protect those people. And, and when you see a trans person that's maybe not so passable go into the bathroom that they identify with, you let them go. And if somebody has a problem with it, you stand up for them. I mean, that's all we can do. We have to stand up we have to be there for each other, right?
Any more questions? Someone over here? Over here. Okay. I see. Yeah. Wait for the microphone. Yeah.
So just a quick question back to your art. Did you do the women? Did you do the women upstairs at the University Club, the sculptures?
Oh, yes. The sculptures that are upstairs in the Universe Club, I did those. Those are ceramic.
They're beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I miss doing ceramic. I love doing figurative work in ceramic, and I'm going to start doing, since I'm a professor at Santa Fe, I get to use their facilities, and I'm actually going to start doing more ceramic work as well. I need to clone myself. I have too much to do.
Right.
There's another one back here.
Okay.
So I know that you yourself are an icon, but do you have any other like drag queens or trans women or just queer people in general that you look up to or that you've always admired or view as like icons to you personally?
Oh, sure. I'm sure many of you know of Dana Douglas. When I was just a little baby drag, I looked up to her and just thought she was everything. Sasha Colby, who I know from the Continental System, just won Drag Race. I'm so proud of her. She's such a sweet person. Yeah, there's a big list, really. RuPaul, I mean, has just blazed a path for all of us. I mean, I know that RuPaul gets a lot of criticism from the queens because maybe she's not always so delicate in her touch, but what she's done for us is just, we can't deny the progress that has been made through her, right? Is that it? Shall I tap dance now? Oh, we have another one over here.
Let's start here.
I just wanted to ask, when you came out, it was not a time when you were very supported at all, quite the opposite.
Oh, no.
Where did you find the courage? Who supported you? Who helped you get through that? Or what?
Well, honestly, it was the drag community that I found my refuge. Because when I was, kicked out, I had nothing. And I found the courage. I don't want to get in too much detail, but I was physically abused as a child as well. And I finally got to the point where I couldn't take anymore and I had to leave. And so, I mean, I guess I found the courage because it was like I'd rather die than take any more abuse. So it was that or that. And when you have that choice, then there you go. And like I said, it was the drag community that welcomed me where I felt like, oh, I found my people. I'm home, It's a world of island of misfit toys that I belong in, right? It was great. I think
This kind of relates to that question too, but there's a lot of people in this room, in this community that work with youth that are often struggling to express their authentic identity, but not always in homes that are welcoming of that. And so I was just wondering if you had any kind of words that those of us that do work with those youth, what advice would you have, or how would you suggest that we, help them through those times when they don't have that freedom to just, go find their own home that is more supportive. They have to be where they are until they can take care of themselves. Like, what can we do to support them?
Yes, I think it's very important to see what type of home they're in and if it's safe, right? I had a stepbrother threaten my life. So it was not safe for me to come out while I was at home. And so I think anybody that helps gay and trans youth, you really have to make sure that they are in a safe place before you ever advise them to just be themselves. And for those that are not in a safe place, you just have to say, just hold on. Just do what you have to do until you can leave home. But just hold on, because once you leave home, it's going to be like a floodgate of happiness that opens to you. So just hold on. That's all you can do, really, right?
Hi, pleased to meet you. When I think of the history of the representation of trans folks, I think of a film called Paris is Burning.
Oh.
And I wondered if you'd comment on that. It was a pivotal moment, but it was embraced and criticized. And I'm just curious what your take on that was.
Yeah, Paris is Burning was filmed in New York, and it was about the house scene. And the house scene is it's kind of like the early drag scene where it's all kind of hidden. And it's basically for people that weren't accepted anywhere else to go and to be accepted, and they competed in these balls. And it's very, very similar. I'm familiar with the house scene as well. I actually was part of the House of Infinity in Miami. And it's a place for these people to go and feel what the rest of us take for granted, where they feel respected, right? And loved and revered. And that's what it's really about. And Paris is Burning really shows a lot of the struggles that these people would go through, right? And I believe it was Octavia, or one of them was murdered actually during the filming. And that unfortunately is something that still happens, especially with Black trans people. A lot of Black trans women are murdered every year. And it's so sad, and it's so horrible that it still happens. But I think Paris is Burning was a very important movie because it opens people's eyes to the struggles of these people, and and also I think the fact they talked about her dying opens people's eyes to how there's still so much hate and so much places where people that are different are unsafe, right? I mean, I hope that answers the question. Yeah.
I wanted to go back to what you said when you felt that was important for you to leave your home and that you found the community. How did you do that? And what would you say to someone now that would like to do that, take that step in the community here?
So if I knew someone that wanted to leave home, well, again, it would be important to know the background of that home. If they were in a home where they were not accepted and they were not safe to be themselves, honestly, if they had the means to leave, I would say leave.
This is working. Yeah. One of the issues that I've encountered in some clients is that they don't have the resources to know where to go. Where do you find that community? They are ready to take a step. However, they don't have the resources about what do I do? Whom do I reach? Who I contact?
That's a very good question. I mean, where does our youth go when they feel like they have to leave home? And there are going to both be those instances. That's something I'm going to have to research myself.
You know, and not only youth, but adults that are in a very unwelcoming environment, that they don't know how to step out of that and reach out outside that environment.
I mean, it takes courage for sure. And I'm pretty sure that we do have resources in this community through the through the center that we have here, right? Don't we have resources here? Yeah. So what's the the Pride Center, right? So they can contact the Pride Center, they can contact this fabulous woman. Um, you know, I would advise them to contact these entities and try to find the courage to leave, because living in an abusive situation is only going to scar you psychologically. And I say, get out. It's my advice. Get out. Mm-hmm.
To wrap up, wonderful conversation. We know that the conversation has only begun, right? And we're carrying on throughout our lives, and we are better for knowing you and having you with us today. Let us get our deep end. And thank you so much. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yes, yes. Let's let her get some food and come back in. All right. We are going to move into some incredible performances with our friends we met this morning. Just a few words on some etiquette. It is appreciated but not required to tip your queens. And if you hold up some money, they will certainly come and receive it from you. If you would like to give but did not bring cash today, there are posted around the walls some things you can scan to give to our queens that way. Again, we have given gifts on behalf of UCG, so this is certainly only if you would like to give additionally. Please do have some cake while and some dessert while we enjoy some incredible performances. And leading us off is the one, the only Kelly. Here comes Tristan. All right. You ready?